Hi, this is Brian Fogarty, and this is a video for Chapter 11 of the book Quantitative Social Science Data with R, second edition. So in this video, what we're going to do is take a look at plotting regression coefficients. Just the coefficients, not plotting the effects. Different people have different preferences with that. When they plot the marginal effects or something like that, we're just gonna plot the coefficients themselves. In Chapter 13, when we look at generalized linear models, we're going to do a lot more about plotting effects, specifically with predicted probabilities. Okay, so a lot of people prefer to use plots for regression results instead of using regression tables. Actually, I love regression tables because it shows me everything I need to know. Not like regression plots don't do that. I just feel, at least to me, that they're clear a regression table. But you know, whatever. we should know how to do both. How about that? All right. So in R, there's a bunch of different ways we could do it. There's a bunch of different packages that exist and functions. What I have been using recently, and is in the book, is a function called GGally model from the GGally. I realize, I've been using this, but I don't say these out loud. All right, so it's from that. Okay. Yeah, no problem. We get our kind of standard warning that we have an older version of R. That's fine. Okay, so the function is GGally underscore model. Okay, and then we're going to do model 1. This is the model from the first video of this chapter about our regression results. Okay, so we could just do that, end of story, but what GGally model does is that it provides us a bunch of options to include to dress up our regression plot, our regression coefficient plot. So the first thing is we can change the labels of the variables, so make them actually look like they're English. So we're going to do variable underscore labels equals C, the concatenate function, and we're going to do percent employment deprived equals quote employment deprivation. All right, so the whole idea with these is making the, what do the variable names, what do they mean? So what are their labels, right? So in Stata, it's common, right? We have variable name and then we have variable label. In R, it's not as sort of clean as that. So here what we're going to do is add these labels so that the plot looks nicer. All right, we have percent over crowded. All right, oh, sorry, this keeps coming up. And we're going to call this overcrowded housing, and then comma, and then our last one, urban underscore FCT equals, I'm going to call this urban / rural. Okay, and then I'm going to bring up these two closed. Close one, so that closes the variable labels, the C function, the concatenate. And then we're going to include a couple of other options. First, we are going to include this no reference row. So this is an option for dummy variable, indicator variables, and what it will do is that it will just show the higher category. So it will show urban and not rural. Just because it's sort of counterintuitive sometimes, because unlike the regression coefficients that we get from the table, we just want to look at the single one, and that one is referencing urban versus rural. So we're gonna say no reference row, and then tell it which one we're using here. So urban FCT, and then we're gonna do comma, show p-values. All right, we don't want that. We're going to say false. And then we're also going to get rid of the significant stars, which are spelled a little weird here, how they abbreviate it. Signif _ stars. False. All right, so that closes out the GGally model function specification. But then what we could do is actually add in a ggplot function here. We're going to add in just a label, just to show you here. We're going to add in a label for the overall. So title equals predicting psychiatric medication prescriptions. Okay. So we have everything in there. So we have the model, we want the labels, and then a couple options, and then add in there. So we could do, we could add other stuff too if we wanted, make it all fancy and dressy and everything like that. Okay, so let's highlight that and run that. Okay, so it comes here. It's hard to see, so we're going to click on zoom. I'm going to pull this, and we're going to pull this a little, make this a little bigger. Okay, so what do we see? So the dots here are our regression coefficients, and the lines around it are the confidence intervals, or prediction intervals, really. Confidence intervals. Yeah, sorry, let me take a step back. These are our confidence intervals. It says beta here. These are coefficient. This is referring to beta as in the regression coefficient, not beta coefficients, which is a slightly different thing. And so when we look at these plots, what we're looking for, so someone could just give you this instead of a regression table that has the coefficients and standard errors and stars and all that jazz. They could just give you this. And from this, we need to decipher whether or not a predictor has a statistically significant effect. So how we determine that is if the confidence intervals, if any of them cross 0 or include 0, that predictor is not statistically significant. The reason why is because our null hypothesis for each one of these predictors is that our coefficient equals 0. So if the confidence interval includes that, then we can't reject the null. So that's how we should think about it. So we see that our prediction intervals, our confidence intervals, sorry, I'm getting confused here. None of them cross 0, as we saw from the results. So we know everything is significant. And then each one is, so, if it's to the right here, this is showing positive effect. If it's to the left, it's a negative effect. The other thing we often think about is how wide these confidence intervals are. So for overcrowded housing, employment deprivation, they're very narrow. It could just be a function of, or it could just be because of the units of measurement on it. These also kind of look like the Star Wars, what is it, the TIE Fighters? I always forget the name of them. These look like those Star Wars things. Anyway, that's how you do it. We're going to be using these in future videos, but it's pretty straightforward about how to create this. It looks pretty decent. We would play with some of this to make it look nicer, as well as the dimensions here. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.